Hello, 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 everybody. Long time no see, since it's been literally, let's say, a minute maybe since I've last streamed. Um, we're gonna go over some of that dumb Olympic stuff again, just in preparation for the stream. Hope you all enjoy. This will be probably shorter than yesterday, just because of I don't want to do the research. We're do a little more reacting than pre looking over things, just because there's just not much to talk about with this. It's actually all kind of boring, honestly, where it's coming from, all this misinformation. And mostly just because it seems like people don't want to actually, I don't know, look into anything, right? It's too much time. But I do kind of want to take a look at these influencers, these alternative media, and get a little upset about their unwilling or lack of willingness to just look at the facts. So let's hop over and take a look at the facts. Now, I'm going to be looking at two specific people in this category. I might look at more later, some other day before, or if I ever have a chat that comes in that wants to look at this as well, we can always do the same thing there. So, big first thing we're going to do here. 1 second, actually. I'm going to go open something up. Thank you. Okay. First thing we're going to do is just look at Timcast. So remember we went over yesterday that we found out most of the story is completely false, and it runs through these two are the two actors that it runs through. We have Redux that says feminist news and opinions. Now, I don't want to be mean to Redux, although I will be mean. We looked at them yesterday. We didn't see they're the best. Calling them feminist news is a bit of a lie. We should just be honest. It should just be called trans news, because I'm just going to type in Control F. I'm going to type in the word trans, and we're going to see that every single article. Now remember, this one doesn't say trans in here, but it says XY chromosome. Every single article that we find has trans stuff. I'm going to load more. Oh, look. Trans. So, to call them feminist news, if this is the biggest feminist issue of all time is just trans issues, then I would believe it. I think there's more issues than just trans stuff happening to women. So I don't want to give this the article the nice call it feminist news. You should just call it trans news. That is their bent. Everything is filtered through that opinion, which again does not mean it's going to have wrong stuff. Just everything is filtered through that. Nothing is not filtered through the trans narrative. So that's always something to keep in mind. Know what your biases are when going in. So let's go look at what our biases of our main man, Timcast, has. This is Tim Pool, known for a guy who wears beanie and gives out news opinions. He has put 2 videos out. We're just going to watch the first one, and we can already see, since we've done our research, bing, 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 flashing big yellow light, warning, 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 warning. Olympic Committee releases statement. We have this from the Daily Mail Online. Now, we can go look online. We can just go look at Daily Mail, and we can just go see. Because Wikipedia usually isn't too bad telling you your facts of the day of like what is bad, what is good. And they will go Daily Mail, middle market tabloid newspaper. So we're already kind of in the weird place. Tabloid. I don't know how you feel about tabloids. A tabloid doesn't hold the strongest sense of I don't know what you'd call it, like trustworthiness. They're gonna kind of puff stuff up to make it more important, and they're gonna kind of just speculate on things. Or was it? But it has won awards for National Newspaper of the Year, Press Award, blah blah. So they could be pretty good. But content from the paper appears on the Mail Online news website, although the website is managed separately and has its own editor. So we know that online is different. So let's hop over to look at that article, because we should always, first things first, when someone's quoting an article, we should look at it. Not because we want to make sure we're as well read as they are on it. So this goes a bit into the fight of the Olympics, which is I think there's some misquotations here, I would say. It says Carlini. I'll just read it and we'll kind of go through it real quick, because I don't know if we went through it yesterday. So we'll just start from the very top. This is a bit of a long one, but also let's point out here the Daily Mail's freaking layout is fucking awful. This is terrible. Olympic bosses dramatically doubled down their decision to allow two boxers who failed a gender test to compete in Paris. After the opponent of one withdrew from their bout in tears after just 46 seconds. Amid deeply disturbing scenes on the outskirts of Paris, Italy's distraught Angela Carini quit her contest with Algeria Imane Khalime, who was disqualified from last year's World Championship after being deemed biologically male. Now we know from our reading yesterday, big red flag. Big red flag. The defeat, welterweight was, one second, this is all popping up. The defeat of welterweight was hit twice, suffering a suspected broken nose and barely threw a punch before telling her corner, "It's not fair." She then sank to her knees, beat the canvas in frustration, and refused to shake Khalime's hand. After the lopsided fight ended, Carini, 25, she said she withdrew because of fear for her own safety. The situation was subsequently slammed by a UN women's welfare official and Italy's prime minister. However, the IOC hit back at what it's called discrimination, saying Khalime, 25, and Taiwan Lin Yuting, who was also disqualified from the New Delhi competition and is due to fight today, or Friday, were victims of a sudden and arbitrary decision by the IBA. Now, remember all this stuff. If we go back and we look later, we'll find out. If we look further on, there's different things going on here. But Angela Carini says she wants to apologize, and it's not for things she said. If we actually look at BBC Sports, hey, look, it's BBC. We like BBC. Blah 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 blah. If we look at this, it says all this controversy makes me sad. I'm sorry for my opponent. If the IOC said she can fight, I respect that decision. I wasn't something I tend to do. Actually, I want to apologize to her and everyone else. I was angry because my Olympic had gone up in smoke. That's the anger. That's where it comes from. You know, she trained her whole life to this and she got beaten. It would suck. This is obviously a reason for it to suck. She added that if she met Khalime again, she would embrace her. Remember, we're quoting from Italian in a breaking news. It's just not going to be that good. And she says, it could have been a match for a lifetime, but I had to preserve my life as well in that moment. Remember, the thing people don't understand about fighting, it seems like getting hit in the head a lot will fuck your brain up. And most of them are aware of that. So they're trying to figure that out. Also look at BBC. They'll actually do the correct. The Russian-led international IBA, which carried out the test last year, said Khalime failed to meet the eligibility criteria for participating in the women's competition and laid out in the IBA regulation. Khalime had always competed in the women's division, recognized by the IOC as a female athlete, born female, registered female, lived her life as a female, boxed as a female, has a female passport, blah, blah, blah. There's just no evidence to the contrary right now. And then the IBA president Umar Kremlev said they'd pay Carini some amount of money, even though she doesn't. I don't think she wants to be anywhere part of that system of stuff. So it's whatever. So we'll hop back to our original article here and make sure we're kind of going over these things right now. Now, just remember, as we keep going through this, we are going to try to be as level-headed as possible. The big thing we don't want to be is when we're going through this, having some, I don't know, bias, even if we see something incorrect that they're trying to misreport or go through things wrongly. That's something we're just going to try not to do. Now, we can eventually get our way there if we feel that way. But right now, we're just seeing some problems with, I think, reporting in general that are happening right now. Now, the IBA were boxing's governing body who oversaw the World Championship, but had their status stripped by the IOC over governance issue and alleged corruption. As a result, the IOC have taken over running the boxing in the games and the eligibility rules surrounding it. Remember, if you want to go look up why the IOC is not happy with the IBA, that is all public record. We can just go online and whoop, you can just go there and look. It's actually really easy. I've taken, I think yesterday, I didn't really show it. You can just take a look at it, and it's pretty easy. It's kind of fascinating, actually, just to go take a look at everything. I actually kind of really enjoyed it. So if you want to do that, you can totally go and do that. Some of the IOC's laws are more relaxed and have led to the presence of the previously banned pair in Paris. But now again, we are comparing two things. Now, IOC is being transparent with their laws. The IBA is not. Remember this. They're using this transparency against IOC. You should return it and give it to the IBA. IBA are not being transparent with what happened. They have never been. So they'll say this year, the IOC goes, they were disqualified, without any due process. Every person has the right to practice sport without discrimination. And remember, they're not saying discrimination here. I think they're using this to be like, oh, well, like you hate trans people. I think they're just legitimately trying to be like, hey, this shit, they just got disqualified for reasons we can't figure out. It's discriminatory. It also attacked misleading information about the two female athletes, adding that the pair have been competing at international boxing competitions for many years in the women's category. The statement highlighted aggression against the boxers, which said was based entirely on this arbitrary decision. Now, this is the IOC stance, which I think is somewhat plausible. They're saying, hey, the big problem with this right now is it's focused primarily on this one decision that came earlier. So if we go scroll down, they're going to start talking about the fight, blah, blah, blah. And we know Karina said she's like, I had to safeguard my life. I couldn't carry on. They're saying because this woman was too powerful punching her. Again, I haven't seen any evidence contrary saying she's not a woman. Blah, blah, blah. Now we're just going to get more and more into this. And this is where we get to the problem, where the sourcing's coming from. We have all this, and we have, according to feminist website Redux, both are impacted by difference of sexual development, DSD, a series of medical conditions identified at birth where genitalia is atypical in relation to chromosome. The IBA say that neither athlete underwent testosterone exams, but were instead subject to a separate and recognized test. It claimed the test conclusively indicated that both athletes did not meet the required necessary eligibility criteria, with both boxers found to have competitive advantage over other female competitors. Blah, blah, blah. There we are. So, let's go. Redux. Both are thought to be impacted by different... Okay, so if we look at when this came out August 1st. The most recent Redux article on this, which I assume they pull from, was this one. Now, it says they claimed... I think you could actually sue them for this misattribution if you wanted to. Ranted by a difference of sexual development, DSD. So let's hop out of Daily Mail and let's look at this Redux article. Now, this is one we did look at yesterday. And there is nothing about... I'm going to control F. DSD. Oh, here we go. Never mind. They do have it. I'm sorry. I was wrong. My bad. While neither have stated that they identify as transgender. Remember, Redux is looking for it. That's the hunt. It is suspect that both are impacted by DSD. So it's suspected. They just throw that out into the ether. Maybe it's DSD. DSD is in elite sports first came to public during the meteoric rise of South African runner Caster Semenya. Semenya's rapid improvement in performance beginning in 2009 initially triggered a suspicion of drug use, and world athletes, then called the IAAF, was internationally announced for requesting Semenya take a test to ascertain his biological sex. Blah, blah, blah. Years later, has a DSD where the normal male sexual development fails in utero, resulting blah, blah, blah. So you can go look into DSD stuff. So now we have this one where, okay, so it could be a DSD. Now remember, where does all this come from? Comes from our good friend RT News. So all this information, if we track it down, the national source, we do our little hop throughs and everything, we find out, everything ends up being from Russian Today. Now again, just because it's propaganda, which it is, it doesn't mean it's incorrect. But what you need is proof. And remember, as we have said, the IBA, this is their statement on the proof. This is what they have. That it's, where was it? Let's go find, make sure it's specifically here. This is their, and this is the proof they wanted to, this little paragraph right here. They disqualified them because, let me go make sure it's clear. They did not undergo a testosterone examination. They have no idea if the testosterone's out of whack or not, but a separate and recognized test that remain confidential. This whole hubbubaloo, everything, is from a test that we don't know the status of at all, and that's it. That's all we get. And they were banned for it. Now, I have done some previous looking around at these people. I will say Krimlev, if I can pull up my notes for it. I got rid of all, so let's go see. Has said some incredibly wild things that would make me suspect of him, that makes him feel very politically sorted if you want to go read his telegram. I mean, F it. We'll just go do the first. Let's do Umar Krimlev Temlev. Krimlev. Yeah, I already pulled up his telegram, so you know I've already looked it up. Let's just look at this first thing. I'm just gonna grab this first little section of Russian. Now remember, this is me translating Russian to English, so it's not perfect. If we look, I'll just go cut out this first part here. The 2024 Olympic Games are outright sodomy and the destruction of traditional values throughout the world, and Thomas Bach is responsible for this. I would just say this is not an unbiased source who's looking to betterment of society. When I hear sodomy, traditional values, I'm immediately going to be put on end that this is not a source that's trying to be as impartial as possible. Mass violations, complaints, bullying of athletes, lack of security, and even the neglect of the symbols of the Olympic movement are just a small part of what is currently happening in the Olympic participation of transgender athletes. Whoa, he did not say transgender last time. He said they had XY chromosomes. This could have been all these other things, but now he's saying they're transgender athletes. Why don't you just come out and say it then? Why would you not come out and say it? Is this all... How can he come out and say it there, but the IBA can't come out and say it here? I just don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. And so we're dealing with this, I think, kind of wacky little story here that kind of comes just from Russian Today and this one guy who seems a bit iffy and got kicked out of the Olympics for being iffy. So it doesn't look good. The sourcing, the layers of truth feel odd. But remember, something could have happened. They did get banned. And there are multiple reasons why. We're now dealing in like levels of we just don't know, because conspiracies can go either way on this one. The real answer is, agnostically, we can't say anything until the IBA or a separate test is done. But pushing for, I guess, well, we're already at the end of the decision, instead of just going, hey, I think this or I think that, it would be fine. But no one's choosing to do that, so we're kind of stuck where we're stuck. Let's hop over and listen to our people, our millions of subscriber people who have said, hey, you know what? We get paid just an ungodly amount of money. Let's turn off the music now. An ungodly amount of money to look at these things and repeat the news to you. So let's go see what Mr. Tim does with us today. I'm going to bump up the playback speed to 1.5 because we're going to try to move quickly. Let's hear his reporting from the beginning.
Rival Angela Carini in 46 seconds. I mean, you watch this video, and this dude is just like, boom, right in her face.
So we got this dude, which again, could be gender non-specific.
And it was so hard, she immediately, she's like, I'm done. I am not going to fight. And we actually have the video for you guys, so let's see if we can get this video up here. This is, so there were two stops. So you can see here in the bottom left, it says 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's a 3-minute start. So this is about 40 seconds in. Watch what happens.
Straight right hands from Khalifa.
And that's it. Just like that, they call the match. I think I might have another tweet. There's her crying. There's running. I don't think I have the other. There's other clips of it, but that's basically it. So at 46 seconds in, she bows out. Now the controversy here is that Imane Khalime, as well as another competitor, who I believe his name is Lin Yuting. Yeah, Lin Yuting. They both tested biologically male. XY.
Boom. There's our first problem. They both tested biologically male. Just not true. We don't have any. We have none of that test. That test is not available. We have gone over it. The IBA has said the test is confidential. All we have is this guy saying it and everyone denying it. Or people denying it. We cannot just say, well, he said it, so it's got to be true. But they said it and it's not true. Well, I'm just going to take his side on it. We have to have a little something in the business called proof. Now remember, it could be a really trusted individual. I would just say they just got banned from the Olympics even before this happened because they have been extremely suspect. So, again, there's just not a ton of proof that this happened. So,
$100,000 awarded to her. And
oh, sorry, this is a different one. Blech.
Chromosomes is what the statement from the World Boxing Association, whatever the organization is called, like a World Boxing Championship, said XY chromosomes, and they had male testosterone.
It's the International Boxing Association. Him not knowing that makes me very upset just because it's the IBA. We've been over this, blah, blah.
Levels. And so they were disqualified and had their medals.
Ooh, hear that?
Said XY chromosomes, and they had male testosterone levels.
Boom, he said male testosterone levels. Again, hopping back over to here. This is not, they did not undergo a testosterone examination. I don't, did he just like wake up today and just be like, I'm lying? I don't even think in here did I say testos? Algerian media reported that, but no one else has reported that. The testing never reported that. So not even in here that happens. I just don't even know. That feels like he just. That's not even. Is that in the Daily Mail article? Daily Mail. Or did this test?
What if is a symptom that torments individuals with OCD?
Shut up. We have 3. Thief had been disqualified as for a gold medal about China. They're saying that we have no, and even down here it said neither underwent testosterone examination. So
There's a new clinical.
I don't know where the testosterone evidence is coming. I don't know where it's coming from.
And so they were disqualified and had their medals stripped, I believe, from previous fights. They are still allowed to compete in the Olympics because the Olympics criteria is that your passport says F. That was it. And so they put up this.
It's not exactly what the IOC said. What did the IOC say? IOC about female Imane. I don't think it's exactly what they said. It's like a passport thing. I know what it is, but I think it's more than that. Yeah, we have 2 boxers who were born as women, have been raised as women, and who have a passport as a woman. Remember, they're just focused on the passport thing. They're saying there is no evidence we have to the contrary besides these confidential tests from a source we don't believe is what's it called, non-corrupt or non-trustworthy. Remember, I hate this type of talking point where it's just passport, blah blah. No, imagine if you're born. I'm born right today. I'm born. I'm male. I'm born male. I'm identified as male. Go through my life as male. Go to compete with men, and someone goes, whoa, 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 that dude's a chick. And I'm like, I've been male my whole life. Everything I do is male. I have fucking all the things that would make me male. And they go, actually, we did this tests and you failed it. Okay, what's the fucking test? So everyone can know and I can, change accordingly. Confidential. Can't really go into that, really. That's not strong evidence. It doesn't look strong.
Statement. And this has led a lot of people to say, hold on, this may not be cut and dried. These may be intersex individuals. Well, I believe now what the narrative is that they're suffering from something called DSD. I believe
that's the narrative. Again, I don't know why he's acting like he can talk about a narrative. It's so
the
weird.
idea is that they have an insensitivity at some degree to testosterone, resulting in the development of a female structure in the womb, despite them having internal testes, male chromosomes.
I don't know why we're talking about DSC. None of this is proven. Now we're just kind of riffing. We're just kind of like, it's maybe now I'm just gonna make my own little fan fiction up and just kind of roll through my life thinking of these unique
Going through
things.
male puberty and legit just being male. And so the Olympics has released this statement. Joint Paris 2024 Boxing Unit IOC statement. Every person has the right to practice sport without discrimination. All athletes participating in the boxing tournament of the Olympic Games Paris 2024 comply with the competition's eligibility and entry regulations, as well as all applicable medical regulations set by Paris's 2024 Boxing Unit (PBU). As with
Let's look at PBU medical regulations. I don't know. Maybe we can look this up. I don't know. That's the statement. One second. What is this? Blah, blah, blah. Yes, I'm happy. Please find all applicable rules here. See the link at the top of the page. Anti-doping provisions. Tournaments, your tournaments. It just seems like an anti-doping thing, to be fair. Qualification timeline. Blah, blah, blah. So not that crazy. I wouldn't imagine it to be so. Blah, blah, blah. anti-doping. Olympic movement. Only those athletes respect and comply the Olympic Charter, World Anti-Doping Code, and the Olympic Movement Code on the prevention of manipulation of competition include the conditions, age requirements. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I just don't know what the qualifications are. I don't think anyone really knows. I think people are trying to figure it out right now. I'll be honest. So I don't think this is a great look for the Olympics to be like there is no thing. But again, it's so rare and weird that I doubt people even care back in the day. I think it's like this is why it's a big problem now.
Previous Olympic boxing.
But again, maybe to some degree, the Olympics, if we want to give like a thing to the Olympics, like, hey, Olympics is what you should work on, is have some new identifiable criteria on what to do with this issue. Remember, you're the Olympics. You're the biggest sporting event in the whole world. For trans issues and such, you should probably take a hard stance on what you think is true or not. Again, look at the medical, look at the science-based facts. I think there's obvious things you can pull from it. But them not having anything that I can see right away, I think doesn't. Now again, this is up to me. I did a very cursory glance. If you were to take what I just said and be like, that's a good fact, Multi-Direct One is so right about this. He's so based. He's so true. You are wrong. I did a cursory glance. It's not that important.
The gender and age of these athletes are based on their passport. Well, okay. These rules all
is wrong.
Well, up here with like the British, is that? I just assumed that was like the British spelling of it.
It is.
Yeah.
Taylor's only here for American spelling.
They say the rules also apply during the qualification period, including the boxing tournaments of the 2023 European Games, Asian Games, Pan American Games, and Pacific Games, the ad hoc 2023 African qualifying tournament, etc., etc. We'll skip ahead. They say the PBU used the Tokyo 2022 rules as the baseline. They're going to mention that these individuals did compete 4 years ago, and I mentioned this in my previous coverage a couple days ago. They say we have seen reports misleading information about 2 female athletes competing at the Olympic Games Paris 2024. Full stop. They're saying female, despite the fact that official gender testing from the World Championship Boxing Association is that they tested male. So,
okay, one second. World Championship Boxing Association. I don't know. We're just making up names. It's IBA, International Boxing Association. You might just be trying to figure out what name it goes by. He's saying they failed gender tests. We don't know what test they failed. We just don't know.
Confusion there. The 2 athletes have been competing in international boxing competitions for many years in the women's category, including the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020. They say International Boxing Association World Championships and IBA sanctioned tournaments. I believe that's who actually said no and stripped them of their titles. These 2.
No, including the Olympic Games 2020, international by the IBA and IBA tournament. So they're saying IBA only recently got to ban them for some reason. Because that's what the next paragraph is literally saying. They were victims of a sudden arbitrary decision by the IBA towards the end of an IBA championship in 2023.
2 athletes were victims of a sudden and arbitrary decision by the IBA.
Yeah, and I think they're getting at a process rule here. If they're this point and they get banned, there has to be some recourse they go through. Now, eventually, they did pull out. I think because the IBA pretty much got fucking shut down around and just got blown up. But to the point is,
toward the end of the IBA World Championship in 2023, they were
we just
suddenly
don't know.
disqualified without any due process. According to the IBA minutes available on their website, this decision was initially taken solely by the IBA Secretary General and CEO.
We saw that. If we looked yesterday, we did see that it was a sole decision by the IBA guy, even to the degree that I think even I'm still totally confused by the IBA decision in any of this. It hurts my brain because it's so weird for Tim to be being like they ultimately skeptical of the Olympic, the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, which has to make everyone fucking work in it and respect it, to then take the IBA's decision, which inherently is exceptionally untrustworthy by even the IOC standard and even by their own minutes just being brought up, being like, hey, Secretary General walks in and goes, hey, we're banning these people, and they're like, why? They failed this test, that's why. Okay, should we set up rules for this? Yeah, we'll do it after we ban them. Like, they didn't have rules set. It's ugh.
The IBA board only ratified it afterwards and only subsequently requested that a procedure to follow in similar cases in the future should be established and reflected in the IBA regulations. The minutes also say the IBA should establish a clear procedure on gender testing. The current aggression against these 2 athletes is based entirely on this arbitrary decision, which was taken without any proper procedure, especially considering that these athletes had been competing in top-level competition for many years. They say such an approach is contrary to good governance. They go on to say the IOC has made it clear that it needs national boxing federations to reach a consensus around new international federation in order for boxing to be included on the sports program. Blah, blah, blah. They're there to protect human rights, etc., etc. And so now there's a big controversy, right?
So is he not going to respond to that? Because it's such an interesting take. The IOC is putting up an order going, there should be more consistent testing around gender stuff. I think the IOC should start taking it, or whatever boxing order they're going to hire next. This could be like a weird moment in time in between when like they have to go to the IBA, but it seems like the IBA is fucking crazy. The people who run it are crazy. But the IOC should at the same time like look into it, quote unquote. So are they just gonna say
Rowling has
nothing?
chimed in. We have this Algeria
Just nothing.
FC
Okay,
football club
cool.
says
We're just
crying
moving
more.
on.
It's a picture
Sick,
of Angela
nasty,
Clooney.
awesome.
Riley Gaines, not Taylor Sullivan. Riley
Oh,
Gaines.
Riley Gaines
sorry.
again. Riley Gaines, JK.
137
That's why I looked at the J.K. Rowling and Riley Gaines yesterday. There they are. They're the people who are going to put it forward. There's no other answer for any of
4
this.
million views, 135,000 retweets on. Men don't
Fuck
belong to women's
me.
sports. Stand with Angela Carini. Let's get it trending. Well, I'm going to pause right there, and I'm going to try and be as offensive to literally everybody as possible. And I do not stand with Angela Carini. I do not stand with anybody who supports men.
So he doesn't stand with Angela Carini. I kind of heard a little bit, but it's because Angela Carini is going to be like, I think Imane Khalime should be able to compete, and therefore, fuck her.
Fighting women. I do not stand with anybody who believes that males should be entitled to female sporting spaces.
Again, we're just saying she's male because we have no
I disagree
evidence.
with that, and that includes even if it's coming from Carini. She said that she forfeited the match because her nose was hurting. She did not say she forfeited the match because she was up against a biological male.
That's true. She did. She said, my nose is hurting. My nose is broken. I think her nose is broken, and she got hit in the face again. She's like, I don't want to keep getting my fucking broken nose punched in. Oh,
And
shit,
in
that's
defeat,
crazy.
Carini said, quote, I wish her to carry on until the end and that she could be happy. I am someone who doesn't judge anyone. I am not here to give judgments. That's just me. I'm not going to stand with feminists who think it's okay that biological males punch women in the face. That's just me. I don't know what you guys think.
This is a weird case because if it's, so the fighter in question, Khalif, is from Algeria, and Algeria doesn't change people's gender on their passport to
Okay, this is a smart point. I think this actually makes sense, yeah. It's weird that this happened.
transgenderism, which would mean presumably this person has always been classified by the government as female, which again makes me think this is an intersex case. And there had been that intersex runner from South Africa in the past. And I remember it was a big controversy because at the time the Olympics would test hormone levels, and intersex athletes who were classified as female but had high levels of testosterone had to take birth control to lower their testosterone. At the time, the runner didn't want to do it. And so it's always been this weird issue where and sometimes the transgender ideology movement includes intersex people and sometimes they don't, right? Because it depends on what they're actually feeling. But being transgender seems very different for me than being someone born with very complicated XY or XXY or whatever.
Well, there's
chromosomes.
Caster Semenya.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's a South African runner.
Yeah.
And again, it's very weird. If a different committee, a different sport had said your testosterone levels are too high, no matter how you were raised or whatever, how you're classified, then that seems like it's an ongoing issue. But the Olympics has changed their standards for this issue in a lot of ways, especially as it's gone from being about intersex people who have issues with hormones and genitalia and all kinds of stuff versus someone who just in their mind has decided they are not whatever sex they are biologically born.
No, we're not. Now we're moving away from the interesting part of the discussion. They're moving back to trans stuff. We don't know anything about this. We don't even know if they're intersex. We've gone so far off. But there's an interesting question there that gets brought up, which I'll kind of dive myself into just because I think it is somewhat interesting, and I'll bring my unlearned point of view across of. There's an interesting question there being asked. Okay, let's say you're born female, you're assigned female at birth, you've participated as a female, everyone treats you as a female, and then you compete, you get disbarred because your testosterone's too high. Well, what the fuck are you supposed to do about it? Are you supposed to move to a different sport? Or just do something else? Has something bad happened? Should we start regulating on testosterone level then instead of, sex? I thought we were just competing to see even if someone's got fucked up anatomy parts, it's fine. There could be a case to be said that the XY makes an unfair advantage against the average woman. I don't know if we're comparing average women when we go to the Olympics. I don't know exactly what the point of it all is. I actually get somewhat confused by it. I think intersex people do provide a very interesting lens to how we view these competitions and what fairness looks like. But we're not getting there because we're stuck on fucking trans people.
This is not
again.
a transgender issue at all. Not at all. And I was saying this days ago when the story for
We don't know what kind of issue it is. He's saying it's not trans issue at all. That's not the problem. The problem is this came forward from a fucking place where all they talk about is trans issue. This is a trans issue because this fucking website only cares about trans issues, and this is where all the info comes from. If I could make it easy to not care about this didn't come from a trans problem issue, it'd be great. And remember, the only thing this is blocked out by, the only place where it doesn't say trans issue is on this article. And it's just because they go XY chromosomes. They're so trying to make it. I bet if let's just look. I'm gonna look. Oh no, 9 results for it's all their ads. My God. So they're not saying they're true, but they're gonna look through that view. This is where all this information comes from. The Daily Mail that he read from is sourcing from that article. That's just what is going on. I hit my mic. That's the problem.
broke that the Olympics were going to allow biological males to compete against women, I stressed there is no evidence to suggest these are transgender individuals. They are literally just males. And it turns out that's likely the case. Now, the argument is...
And again, now we're going to the other thing. They are just to males. That's just not as simple as the world we look at. It's just not that simple. Whatever, fuck it. So that's Tim Cass. He just doesn't understand. We are going to then move to my other favorite person who doesn't understand. Probably. I'll be wrong. I did pull up this video of the quartering. Again, I'm looking at people with like high subscriber counts. I'm going to move off in a sec here because this does actually make me upset and annoyed. Bleh. But we're going to look at the quartering. This had about, that last video had about this has 44,000 views. They're getting up there in views. And where are we at again? The Daily Mail, which sources from this article, from the Redux, which sources from RT News. Oh my god, it's so crazy. It's so let's see how he reads it.
Into submission. That's what happened this morning at the Olympics, and is the second woman to face this fate. Female boxer yells, "This is unjust," and falls to her knees in tears as she quits the fight against a biological male.
Daily Mail had all this shit totally wrong, by the way.
You mean an entire country didn't have one girl that could box? A boxer deemed biologically male. You mean a male? Today won against an Italian woman in one of the most controversial Olympic bouts ever. The fight between Italy's Angelina Carini and her Algerian opponent, a man.
Remember, I'll keep restating this. We have no idea that they're biologically
male.
male.
Her helmet on the floor as the clash was abandoned, yelling, "This is unjust." A 25-year-old.
I don't even know if she yelled, "This is unjust," but I think she's just savage. She got fucking ass kicked.
Refused the handshake and fell to the canvas sobbing.
I don't even know if she got her ass kicked. She got her hit by the nose. The nose was broken. That sucks. This feels unfair. Like, as in, like, life is unfair. Like, that is unjust.
He was banned from major fighting contests before the Olympics. Belief was thrown out last year's World Championships after failing testosterone tests carried out.
We don't know if it's a failed testosterone test.
Establish gender qualification. Look, you were born with a dong, you're a man. We don't need to be testing your blood, okay? We don't.
If you're born with a dong, you're a man. You don't know this. Oh my god. I just wish I could speak into reality like they do. Like, look, just as how it is.
You need to be making a million excuses and talk about ppms of testosterone in your body. You're a dude. You don't get to fight women. It's very simple, okay? After the match, the referee raised Khalees.
Wait, does he think she's transgender?
You can take one look at this dude. It's not a woman. And
oh, so we're going straight to there are no. This is a guy with a penis argument. Oh, okay.
This is
Excuse me.
You shouldn't be watching the Olympics, period, at all, because it is unfathomable that they would allow this. Okay? You mean an entire country didn't have one girl that could box and been banned from major? You're a man. We don't need to be testing your blood. Ignoring the Algerian, the Italian fighter plunged to her knees and burst into tears as she had never felt such a strong. I hurt too much, and I said enough. I'm leaving with my head held high. I mean, look at this dude's arms. This is a man's arms. Women's arms.
This is a man's. Okay, I mean, let's just go look. I don't know. Let's go. Female boxers punch. Let's go see. I just want to see where's some. I'm gonna type it. Let's just type in famous female boxers. I don't know. Fuck it. I'll go take a look. Best female boxers of all time. We have Ann Wolf. Okay, let's go look at Ann Wolf.
I'm gonna grind you to no end. I'm gonna call you bitches. I'm gonna make it to where you wanna cry. I'm gonna make it to where you wanna quit. I'm gonna do all kind of to you.
Gotta see the best female boxer. I love a highlight reel. Don't need to hear the music. Let's just go see a punch from her. Okay, it looks like she just knocked someone the fuck out. So let's go back in here. God, why are they still, as they're highlighting on her, looking good? Is that a female boxer's arms? I don't know. That lady looks ripped as fuck. And we're gonna have low IP. But I mean, god damn. Lady's jacked as hell. That's not even the lady who's getting, that lady getting punched is, god, she got knocked. Is that a woman's arms? Is that a boxer's arm? So let's go look. Ann Wolf. We'll just go see if we get some good high resolution pictures. Ann Wolf. Is this a woman's arm? Is that a woman? If we looked at this woman, is that a woman's arm? What are we comparing? That lady, I could not tell you. I've seen jacked women. I've seen very strong women. That lady looks jacked as fuck because she's a professional boxer. Her arm's gonna be jacked as fuck. And he's like, it looks bigger than that arm. It looks jacked. And he's like, nah, not her. I mean, honestly, I'm trying to like compare. I can't even compare. Her whole life is built around punching people. Her arm's gonna be big.
Arms don't look like that. You know, like, I mean, this is a full-grown man's upper body. It's
How do you know? How do you know what a full man? You're not even as in shape as her.
Sir, why are these people allowed to, you know, by the way, let me just be very clear. I don't really understand why there's any question about this. People that do this, men, by the way, who compete against women, they are losers in every aspect.
Why is there question? Because this is why there's question. The athletes did not undergo a testosterone examination, but were subject to a separate and recognized test that remained confidential. That is it. That is the problem. And then the other response is from this guy mouthing off in Russian news and on Telegram without ever providing evidence. That is why there is confusion. Not because they looked at a picture online and went, oh, that's a guy. Like, we aren't doing that. There's no evidence. Your evidence is just, duh, it is. That's not good evidence.
Like other life. And they hate women, all right? They aren't just trying to live their truth.
Oh, we hate
They are trying to
women
ruin
that hate
women's
women's
life
zone.
because, as I previously stated, they hate women. The reason, by the way, they're allowed to do this is because of women, all right? Women fought for this trans crap, and now they got to deal with it. Sorry, not sorry. You told
We don't know if it's not even trans. I like how Tim. So we have Tim Cass on the other side saying, I don't even know if this is trans bullshit. I don't even know. And then he's coming and saying it is. I just love making things up, bro. I'm making things up. Fuck this. Fuck all these people, dude. It's so dumb. That's it. I don't want to watch any more of these. Fuck it. I'll try to pull through. No, I'm gonna do it. I got like.
Hey, shut up and stay in your lane. You told men we were transphobic if we had any. I'm sorry.
Shut up. I just don't care him rant.
Look at those punches. It's a full-grown man.
How do you?
Response. Get up, just walk away.
Dude, I want to be this misogynistic. It's just insane watching this punch.
Karina shouted, "This is unjust." She signed.
I'm gonna go turn this down. We're gonna go back to 1 speed.
Headgear.
I don't want to hear this guy talk.
Look at those punches.
That punch is a man's punch to you? Just that's it, like a jab forward. How do you? I don't know.
It's a full-grown man. A full-grown, and I love her response. Get up, just walk away. Oh, she stayed. She's like, get off me. Look at that punch. Like, give me a break. This is a full-grown man. You know what I mean? A full-grown man. Being deemed biologically male. Deemed? They are male. What are you talking about, deemed?
What do you mean deemed? They don't know. This Daily Mail article doesn't know. You don't know. You're just saying you know because you...
emerged that Imane Khalime, a man, and Lin Yu-Ting. This is right.
I want to see if he gets to the bottom of this.
Grab your trunks, boy. Okay. What if a just a bunch of testosterone? Do you make her compete against men? These competitions, but that's.
Does he get to the bottom of it, or are they gonna talk about it?
Sure, but it's extremely rare, especially in feats of strength, especially in competitions where you can get your block knocked off. I mean,
it's whatever. It just doesn't. He doesn't know anything. Okay, cool. We're done. That's. Welcome to Slime Town. Population me getting rid of all this bullshit. Oh my god. I wish I just could just say whatever the fuck I want and just consider myself like a truth sayer. All right, let's open up a game.